Okay. What do we got going on here? Let's do something. Let's make some noise. That's the wrong screen. Let's put on monitor number 2. What are we doing? We are going to make a new game. And if I understand how this works, which I'm not really sure, because I've never done it before, and that's what makes this whole exercise exciting, is having never done it before. Now, when I say I've never done it before, I'm partially lying. I made this test, little obstacle test. GTA 6, yeah, that exists, but not until for PC, probably not until 2026, as I suspected. So like 2025, it is December 23 is when they did their first trailer. So December 24, no. December 25, no. Then that's because that's their 26th fiscal year. So probably spring of 25, maybe July, June 25, April, May, June 25 maybe, if we guess anything. But that's just for consoles. PC won't be for till 26. Maybe it was like 2 years for GTA 5. So, maybe we won't see it until I don't know. I don't know what they're playing at. They've had, I don't know what their philosophy is about. I mean, like, for example, they are only adding animals to online for consoles, not for PC. Why? I don't know. But that doesn't matter. You're going to buy a console to play it, I bet. I won't. It's not that important to me. Nice to see you, Orsa. Welcome. So I made this little test, and would you like to upgrade this place's terrain with the new shoreline? You can also upgrade the place's shorelines later from the editor. Sure, whatever. So there is a workspace. I made this little jumping game a while back just to learn. It was a tutorial. Tutorial. And it has a camera. And there's a terrain, I guess, which has been deleted. There's script, which is empty. There's a spawn location, which is there. So you create the spawn location, and then I guess you weld it to a spot. And then there's jumps. So I've made my jumps. Part 1, part 2, 3. Oh, wait a minute. They're all out of order. They're not even in the right. They're not in order. There's a model. There's path. Oh, there it is. Way over there. Path, path, path. There's the balls. Over there. Ball, 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 ball. There's checkpoints. These things. Checkpoint, checkpoint. I don't know what they... And then they're made up of a bunch of sides and stuff. And checkpoint 2, 3, 4 at the very end, I guess. Oh no, they're not even in order. So that doesn't make any sense. And then there's the lavas. Those are the lavas. There's the start down here, which has base, 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 a lava base, lava base, lava base. There's players, lighting, material service, replicated first. I don't know what any of these concepts are. So this is like a self-tutorial / discovery exercise for day 1. I don't know when day 2 will be. Day 1 is really what day 1 is. I've never looked at this really from a perspective of making anything with it. So how do I do that? Server script service, server storage, starter GUI, starter packs. I don't know what that is. Starter player. Oh, there's some things. Starter player scripts. Something about Teams, a sound service, a text chat service, which has a chat window configuration, a chat and a bubble. I don't know. If we play this, doink, you end up with your character and you have the chat. Type here to chat, and that's great. Ooh. And you can jump. How exciting is that? If I hit the little lava, I die. And then you respawn. If I fall off the edge, poof, I die. And then I respawn. So, how did I even make any of that work? I don't even remember. I don't know. Is it a property of lava? Did I make lavas have a property? Cast a shadow, archivable, can collide, can touch, massless. So what is it about lava? Oh, there's a script on lava. There it goes. Can we make that bigger? So when you crash into lava, the script's parent, so the parent of the script is the lava object. If it's touched, connect this function to the touch. So it's kind of like JavaScript on touch. So this is a whole other language. I don't think I know Lua at all. So maybe this day 1 is just going to be recognizing the magnitude of my ignorance and having to do a quick syntax learn of Lua. Because function hit. If that which got hit, if its parent first child is humanoid, then break the joints. Well, that's what we see. And I think this was from the tutorial, so like I got to steal that. So yeah, well, it looks like a little bit of it looks kind of JavaScripty in its scriptiness. There's a function, you use a connect function to bind function. There's a lot of scope. The scripts, so this is a script, so this script's parent touched function. How do I know what functions are available? I have exactly the same question in JavaScript. Like, well, how do I know what events I can subscribe to? How do I know anything? And there is no knowing. Where's the documentation about what a parent can do? Like, show indicators, select parents, select children, group as a model, insert object, save to file, save to Roblox, publish as plugin, help. Okay, the Creator Hub reference. Let's blast through. How many classes are there? Not that many. Data types. Not that many. Enumerations. A few. Globals? Oh no. The Lua globals, the Roblox globals, libraries that we have. 32 buffer coroutine, debug, math, OS, string, table, task, and UTF-8. Where should we start? What an exciting adventure. What an adventure we have ahead of us. So the question is how to make a game, right? We've got classes, data types, globals, and libraries. I kind of want to know the data types. So what do we got? Axis's data type is for arc handles class to control which rotation axes. Axes? What is this word? Axis? Axes. X, Y, Z, top, bottom, left, right, back, front. Creates a new... Who? What? Oh, I'm already disappointed. I'm already disappointed. Oh no. They don't know how to spell axis. It's for the arc handles. See, and is it not a data? It's like, oh, that's a class. Okay. Which class to control which rotation axes are currently enabled. Okay, we don't know about that. Brick color. Data type provides predefined list of named colors, not to be confused with color, a more general data type that describes colors. The following code shows how to use a brick color to declare a brick color property of a part. Workspace part brick color equals pastel blue, number 11. Okay, so we have a bunch of arbitrary, for no good reason, colors. Why? I mean, I guess if you want to restrict your palette to 1032, why 32? It's not even 1024. Again, it doesn't even start at 0. Really? When it's black, is black not... Black is 26 and white is 1? It's not 0 indexed. Again, a little bit of disappointment is growing in the back of my throat. I'm like, what the hell? So that's weird. So we got some little helper function. That's cool. Catalog search parameters. Stores the parameter of a catalog search via avatar editor service search catalog. When accessing the value of a catalog bundle property, the return table type will be read-only to avoid confusion. Okay, I don't know what that means. Properties. This obviously is going to come in handy at some point. Coordinate frame describes 3D position orientations made up of a positional component rotational. When do we need to use this? Stores in a matrix returned on get components. Used internally when doing calcs, converting rotations using radians as the units. Use math radians, math degrees for conversion. For information how Roblox engine performs rotations, see rotation order. Is that a data type or a global or overview? There looks to be summary. Returns a blank frame. Okay, I don't know. Color 3. So I do have some basic goals that I hope to attain, but I don't know if I will yet. So we'll just do it with day 1. Day 1, that's all we care about. Color 3, we have a color. Okay, I get it. Color sequence, data type represents a gradient of color from 0 to 1. The color values are expressed in sequence key point types. The type of variable properties, particle emitters, trails, and beams. 2 color sequence objects are equivalent only if the values of their key points are equivalent. Okay, what does it look like? What is the what's the properties? An array of color sequence key points. Next item. It's a time and a color 3. Got it. And if we go back to color 3, a color 3 is an RGB. And what are these methods? Lerp returns a color interpolated between 2 colors. You can interpolate colors. Lovely. Returns the hue, shaft, and value. The hex code of the value. Cool, cool, cool. Color key point. Content. Assets and other content are reflected through formatted strings, each of which points to an online file or server file saved to the device. The basic structure is a protocol, 5 by blah, and a string that says such and such. So the protocol is Roblox asset ID. An existing asset ID fetches a user-created asset uploaded to Roblox banana. Asset, a file from the file. Thumbnail, a path to the website about where it fetches content from there. HTTP fetches content from a website. Roblox asset ID. Good. Date time. Year, month, day, hour, minute, second, millisecond. The datetime supports conversion with format universal time, format local time. They both work the same except for which time zone should be interpreted in. Cool. Composite tokens for printing it. This produced the correct dates time string depending on the locale. For example, in English, the date is month day. French, then is day month. What do you mean in English it's month day? I mean, Americans do date month, year, day, month. Canadians do, well, I do year, month, day, because that's the right order. I'm just saying. There is a right and there is a wrong. Time LT. What does this LT mean? Okay, so we have a bunch of methods to control time. Lovely. Dock widget plugin GUI info. Data type describes details for a plugin GUI. That's great. This data type is used when constructing plugin GUIs via the plugin GUI creator. Yep, exactly. 1000%. You are a programmer. The enabled state of the plugin GUI, if it does not have a saved state from a previous thing, enable should overwrite. Sorry, if true, it will override any saved enabled state. Initial pixel width of the GUI when floating. Height. Minimum pixel width, minimum pixel height. Cool. Init, floating. So this is some kind of a dock widget plugin GUI info. Enum data type represents an individual enum in Roblox. An individual enum can be indexed through the enums type by the name of the enum itself. Returns the array of all the enum items. So an enum type, an enum item data represents an individual item in a enum. Properties, the name of the enum item, the value, integral value of the enum item, a reference to the parent enum of the enum item. And they don't have an example? I don't know what it looks like. Enums. There's no examples again. So we're going to be guessing. That's great. Enum data type, more commonly known as enum, is by its global variable in Lua, asks as the root access point for all available enums in Roblox. All enums by Roblox are indexed by the name through this data type. Any developers can also use the getEnums method to get a list of all enums on Roblox. GetEnums returns a list of the enums. Faces. The faces data type contains 6 bools representing whether a feature is enabled for each face, the normal of a part. In other words, this contains a boolean for each axis in both directions, and handles object uses this data to enable whether a direction has a visible handle on a part's face. Okay, so we have an example. Instance of handles. The handles faces, we make faces new, front, and left. Enum normal ID front, enum normal ID left. Okay. So that's the syntax of enums. And we make new faces. We're putting new after the class type that we want to instantiate. Local, presumably, is a local var declaration. The face data type is immutable. You cannot assign its properties. So that is immutable. So you would have to destroy it to create a new one. You have to drop. Well, thank you. I don't know how long I'm going to do this. This is going to probably be a really intense little study session for maybe 2 hours tops, you know. And then I'll probably then go play GTA. It is 8 o'clock now, and I've been going. This is already 25 minutes plus the five-ish minutes at the start, 20 minutes. So I'll give this a proper go. But yes, have a wonderful evening. If we see you again later, that would be wonderful. Sure. Okay, later, Gator. Okay. Constructor, new, the normal IDs. Returns faces with corresponding faces of each past normal ID. Returns a faces with a corresponding face of each as true. The properties, whether the face is top, bottom, left, right, back, forth. So do I have to make a part? I'm gonna learn. So faces, float curve, a time value pair used with float curve. Interpolation property dictates the interpolation mode for the segment started by this key and ended by the next key. Each segment may use a different interpolation mode. Tangents apply the cubic interpolation mode and define the desired tangent of the slope. Different left and right values can be used to encode discontinuities in the slope. Attempting to set the value on a key doesn't use cubic interpolation will result in a runtime error. Well, we don't want that. So new number mode, key interpolation mode at the segment, time value. Okay, so creates a new float key, time value number, properties. We'll have to learn. Font describes a font used to render text. Every font consists of a font family, a weight, and a style. Families are an asset, like images and mesh. Font families contain font faces. Each font has different weights and styles. Fonts in the font property uses text. Font is used in the font phrase property on text labels, text buttons, and text boxes. Font list. Well, that's a really good asset, I'd say. That's a really good resource to know. And you are a really good kitty cat. It's always good to know a kitty cat because they're cuddly and soft. That's good. Okay, I'm learning. Sass is learning. Okay, you go sit in your box. Okay, so we got a whole bunch of fonts, and we don't know what they look like, but there they are. Constructors, properties, construct new from enum, from name, from ID, and then there's some properties that we can play with. The properties are weight. Okay, honey bunny. Yeah. This is a convenience method for creating fonts from the content folder, the name you pass in. Code samples. This shows how to use the font from name. Script parent font face. Font from name. Name. Print. Script parent font face family. Okay. So we can load these things in. From ID is a convenience method from creating fonts from an asset ID. Code samples. Whether the font is bold or not, what style, how thick the text is, the default is regular. When set, bold is updated, bold, okay. So we just bold it true or false. Instance. Can hold the constructor for instance objects. New class name returns an instance of class. New contains a task, class name, okay. Number range represents a range of numbers, good. Number sequence, why would it be a range of numbers? So they don't have an array data type? That's weird. So am I to guess that there's a string array or some weirdness? Nope. Number range. New value number returns a new number range with the minimum and maximum set to the value. New min, new max returns a number range provided with minimum and maximum. What do you need this for? It's just a Okay, number sequence data types represent a series of values from 0 to 1. The number of values are expressed using key points. This type is used in properties such as particle emitters and beam transparency to define numerical change over time. Two number sequence objects are equivalent only if the values of their key points are equivalent, even if both would result in a similar graph. Number sequence type does not have a built-in method for getting the value at a certain time and point because key points can have random envelopes. However, assuming the envelope value of your key points are all 0, you can use the following function to evaluate at a specific time. Assuming the envelope values of your key points are all 0. Why would you assume that? Is that something you should safely assume? Number sequence. Key point new 0, 1.51, 1, 0. What the hell are these? Oh, min max, min max, min max. Number sequence 0.65 is equal to about 7. Eval a number sequence. That's pretty fancy. Well, my friends, already a challenge. Number sequence key point. Data type refers key points within a number sequence, a number and a value, a time and a value and an envelope, the amount of variance allowed from the value, computed value. Okay, sure. Overlap parameters. Data type stores parameters for use with world root boundary querying functions. What is that? That isn't a thing. That's just a... Is world root a class? W? World root, yep. Okay, so we got, I think this is heavily dependent on pre-existing classes. Unlike most data types in Lao, you can change all the members of overlap parameters without creating a new object, allowing you to reuse. Okay. Allows you to reuse the same object repeatedly. So, the overlap, read this again, stores parameters for use with world root boundary querying functions. In particular, get part bounds in box, get part bounds in radians, and get parts in part. Filter descendants instance property stores an array of objects to use as either an inclusion or exclusion list based off the filter type enum. And the parameter overlap collision group property can specify a collision group for the boundary. I understand. Overlapping objects parameters. So when you want to query these functions, you need that. Okay, let's continue. We're almost through, where are we at? O, P. Pathway point, data constructed by a pathway point action. Vector 3 position and string label, which is used by the service to create points along a path. The code block below constructs a pathway point variable as a position. Waypoint walk is its action and a label. Position is a new vector. A waypoint is a pathway point new with a walk action and a label. Pathway can be constructed by passing position and label properties we set to things. So does this allow me to like create a walking widget, I guess? Perhaps. Automated action. The action describes like cutscenes. Constructors. We've got a position, an action, and walk action needed to reach this waypoint from the previous one. A jump action needed to reach this waypoint from the previous one. So does this... think there's going to be a serious learning curve that I will follow offline, but I'm just trying to commit myself here again, stating the brutal obvious so that this little enumeration of enumeration is sensible. Physical properties data type describes several physical properties of a base part: density, elasticity, and friction. It is used in a similarly named base part custom physical properties property. Weighting. Physical properties provides weighting properties, elasticity, and friction. Weight. When two parts interact, the friction and elasticity between them are determined in the same way by the following pair of weighted average functions. Friction times friction A plus friction B times friction weight divided by friction weight plus friction weight. The formula above refers to friction and friction weight of two parts, A and B. The formula is used in the same manner when determining elasticity. Generally, when the weight of A is much greater than B, the actual value will be closer to A. If the weights are similar, the actual value will be closer to the midpoint between their individual values. So a lot of physics. We can do random. Data type generates random numbers and directions. Seed the number. Next integer, next number, next unit vector, random direction. Oh, that's fun. Clone returns a new random object with the same state as the original. Interesting. Constructors, code sample, seed, math, random, generator, random new seed, generator. So we new up a random with a randomized seed, and then we have a, okay. Cool beans. Ray represents a half line, finite in one direction but infinite in the other. It can be defined by a 3D point where the line originates from and a direction vector which is in the direction to. New origin director to returns a ray. Cool beans. The raycast data type stores parameters of the raycast operations. The filter property stores an array of objects to use either as an inclusion-exclusion list between the filter type if desired. Ignore water can be used to ignore terrain water. And the raycast collision group property can be specified. Specify a collision group of the raycasting operation. The object is different from the similarly named raycast result, which provides the result of a raycast. Oh boy. Unlike most data types in Lua, you can change all the members of raycast weather. Okay, got it. And then the result stores the result of a raycast operation performed by raycast. Object should not be confused with the similarly named raycast params. Got it. Roblox script connection, also known as a connection, is a special object returned by the connect method in an event script signal. This is primarily to disconnect a listener from a script signal. The state of the connection method disconnects. Disconnects whether or not the connection is alive. False is called. Okay. Data type, more commonly known as an event, provides a way for user-defined functions, listeners, to call when something happens in the game. When an event happens, the script signal fires and calls any listeners that are connected. Oh, this could be abused. This could be seriously abused. Just saying. When an event happens, the script signal fires and calls an array. Travis, hello. Welcome to my weird little place. I am presently, just so you know what I'm doing, this is really day one. This is like mega day one. I'm going through the basic language. I don't even know Lua, but I have 30 years of C++ experience. So, and C# and JavaScript and SQL and C# and Python and PHP. So I have some capability. So this is just kind of a challenge, really. starting from 0. So I'm just going through the data types so I understand what kind of data this thing uses. I'm also familiar with Unreal and Unity, so I've kind of got a notion of the component model architecture that it seems to be operating under. Welcome. When an event happens, the signal fires, yeah, we read that. A signal may also pass arguments to each listener providing extra information about the event. Methods. Connect function, yep. Connect parallel, connects the given function to the event and returns a script connection that represents it. That's not the same thing we just said. Okay. Once. Connect the figure to the event for a single invocation and returns that represents it. Wait yields the current thread. Okay. Got it. Bananas. Okay, keep going. Rectangle describes a rect on a plane. It's got a width, height, min, and max. Beautiful. Vector new, vector new. Perfect. Region 3. Data type describes a volume. It has a C-frame and a size, and I have already learned that a C-frame is a place. So now we have a magnitude. Data describes a volume of 3D space similar to an axis-aligned rectangular prism. It's commonly used with terrain functions and functions that detect parts within a volume, such as find parts in region. Prism center is accessible. Use C-frame property, and the prism size is accessible with region size. Expand to grid returns a new region whose bounds comply with the provided resolution. Region summary new. Got it. Not to be confused, separate class that fulfills a different purpose. The int16 represents a volume similar to that. It uses two vector3 int16s to store the volume bound and min-max properties. Its constructed uses blah. Given the two blahs, this data type features no functions or operations. Oh, so it's a data type differs from region in that it stores its bounds directly rather than through a center and size combo. Nonetheless, it's possible to calculate its dimensions using min-max. Converting to 3, the following function can be used to convert from that to that. It does this by converting min-max, which are vector states, into vector 3s to do the thingies. Beautiful. Represents a table-like data structure that can be shared across execution contexts. While it can be used for various sorts of data storage, it's designed specially for parallel Lua, where it can be used to share state across scripts parented under different actor instances. Like a table, a shared table stores a set of key value pairs. Unlike a table, only selected types of objects may be stored in it. Similar restrictions you'll find elsewhere. Keys must be a string or an integer. A non-negative, okay. Unsigned, but integers are signed, so you only get half the integer. Got it. Other kinds of keys are not supported. Values must have one of the following types: bool, number, vector, string. Shared table. So shared tables can contain shared tables as values. Lovely. I like it. So this is kind of a map. So you can have a map of maps. Or a serializable data type. The ability to store shared tables as value in another shared pyramid with the construction of nested recursive data structures. Objects are distinct, can never compare equal, even if the contents would are equal. Unlike a table, objects may be frozen, in which case is read only. An attempt to modify a frozen will raise an error. Frozen table can be created by first creating a non-frozen, then calling freeze it. Clone and freeze. Okay. Accessed in the same way as elements of Lua tables in using the table K syntax for strings of type K. Shared table new. Shared table index 1 equals A. Shared table index string equals true. String index Y equals thing. So you can just use all sorts of fun syntax. That's crazy. Assert that equals A is true and false and the. The for loop can be used to iterate over the elements of a shared table. The elements of the shared table are not iterated directly. Instead, a shallow clone is made of the table and its elements are iterated. Ensure that a consistent view of the table is maintained throughout the iteration. Thus, both the following for loops have the behavior. Note that it means that a shared table is accessed directly from the body of the iteration. Its state may not be consistent with the state observed through the iteration. And that's because it's shared. Something could change it. The iteration order is partially specified. Elements with numeric keys are iterated before elements with string keys. So the table is oddly sorted. Numeric keys over string keys. Local table ABC for key value in table clone shared table false shared table. I'm not sure what the argument is. Do print stuff end. For key value in shared table, do key value. So you can do both. Elements of string are iterated in unspecified order. That's fine. Question is, should you be accessing a map in an iterative fashion? You know, should you? Would you? Why would you? Why wouldn't you? Continuing. Tween info stores parameters for the tween service to specify the behavior of a tween. Properties of a tween cannot be written. What's a tween? Easing, time, delay, repeat, easing, reverses. Okay? What are our easing direction properties? Easing direction, direction which is that's probably an enum. Because easing direction is not a data type. It's probably an enum. So we go look at enums. D, E, A, easing direction. We have some D easing directions. Good. Okay. There's a lot of enumerations. That's crazy. How far did I get? Where am I? Tween. U. The U dimension. Dimension is a one-dimensional value with two components, a relative scale and an absolute offset. Following math operations are valued for this. Dim plus dim produces a dim representing the sum of the dim. Dim minus dim produces a dim, the difference. The scale of the dimension and an offset returns a dimension of the given component, a scale and offset. A scale number and an offset number, pixel unit component of the dimension. I'm not 100% sure what that's for. I'm sure it'll come up. Represents a two-dimensional value where each dimension is composed of a scale and an absolute offset for each dimension is comprised. Okay, we get it. A vector 2, 2D value, director magnitude, got it. Vector 2, 16, got it. Vector 3, got it. We've got some identities, 0, 1, magnitude, unit, cross, angle, dot, fuzzy equals. What does that mean? They're almost the same. Angle, dot, fuzzy. Returns true if x, y, and z components of the other vector are within an epsilon units of each other. Oh, okay. So if you're really trying to hit something, fuzzy, fuzzy was a bear. Beautiful. Some globals. Oh, look at all the globals. Okay. Following list of functions and variables that are native to Lua. These functions can be used in a standard init, although there's some differences in how these work on Roblox. We can assert, collect garbage, halt on an error, caller environment, meta table of the given table, returns an iterator function and uses the table for use in a for loop. Load string returns a provided code as a function that can be executed. Contents of the string and the chunk name. Oh. Creates a blank user data with the option to have a metadata. Proxy metadata boolean. New proxy user data. Iterator. Iterator returns a provided function. Runs the provided function, catches any errors it throws, returning the function success and its results as a boolean. And its results, where does it return the results? In args? Or those args to the function? Unclear. Print things, parameters, separated by commas. That seems kind of old school, doesn't it? Raw equals, returns whether this is equal to that. Gets the real value of something. Returns the length of a string. Raw. So I wonder why you would ever be using the raw. Should you be using the raw? I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't. Return arguments after the given index. Set environment, set function environment. Sets a table. Take a variant, return it to a number, to a string. Returns the type of an object. So there's probably an enumeration of types. Element, unpack a table. And similar to pcall, except it uses a custom error handler. Properties, a table that is shared between all scripts of the same content level. Okay. Global variable that holds the string containing the current interpreter version. Gotcha. And then examples of all of these functions. Product 90 times 4, product equals that. Oh dear. Okay, we're not going to stare at that. Once I have done an inventory of things that I think I understand or need to learn, then I will do that offline. This day one isn't actually accomplishing anything. At least I don't think it is yet, because I think I need to do another tutorial or something. Or the bigger question is, of course, the nature of the world, and I think I do have some ideas about that. Roblox goals. Elapsed time in seconds since the current instance has been running. Well, that's fun. Mr. Love Pickle. That's cool. Did you get my message that I made a build? I've probably got another build, and I haven't figured out the installer. I sent it in Discord. I sent it to you in Discord. But it's a functional build. It works. I've been fixing my my YouTube player, and now the buttons seem to work properly. Mostly, it seems. If I hit stop, pause, it pauses. If I hit mute, it mutes. If I unmute, it unmutes. If I hit play, it plays again. If I go next song, it next songs. Although next and previous songs are not predictable. Yeah, don't worry. And when you do, you know what? I mean, like, if you're gonna look at it, maybe message me, and then because it's not user friendly at all. It's completely unfriendly. It's you will probably not know how to do it, how to use it, and that's part of this experience. what I'm going to use your brain here for a second. I'm just going to put the bot on the screen, or I'll leave it on the screen, and then I'll just swap which screen we're looking at real quick here. Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of covered it when I implement it, but what was I going to show you? Something in the plugin for Hue. Everything's kind of backwards. I always put the plugin setup on the right, but what I'm imagining is there's like the list of the devices, and then there's the list of the groups that are higher level, and the list of the scenes that are detected. I'm thinking there will be a fifth tab, of the first tab on the list will probably be something like dashboard. I don't know, like the Hue dashboard or Hue control, or I don't know what, because these things are just the nuts and bolts details of what makes up your system, because you can make commands that can control the devices or the groups or the scenes. So like the individual lights, individual rooms, or the sets. So the commands allow you to control everything. But if I make a controller panel and make it pretty so that you can press buttons and like an app, maybe make the initialization of the system a little easier, because right now if you have one bridge, it dissects it. It's a process. I'm not going to go into it right now because that's not important. But when you're ready, Discord message me, and then if I'm, then I'll stream. If you're impatient, then I can't help you. What you'll see is a very difficult, opaque user experience on first install. Why don't I see your chat here? That's weird. The chat ate one of your messages. Isn't that odd? I've never seen it do that before. Unless it, you know what? Here, I'll refresh. Well, it didn't receive it. I don't understand. Yeah, it ate one of your messages. Wow. No, that shouldn't have made that shouldn't have made any difference. There's no the moderation plugin isn't enabled. It has a spam filter for, no, not spam, is it big message? Verbosity filter. Yeah, it has a verbosity filter. This user interface for mod is horrible. I would like to re-enable this so I could use it. But anyways, no, it's kind of a user friendliness. The user friendly experience of getting this set up is poor. But I've tested it and it works. So anyways, you know what I think it is? I think it's a refresh problem. But it didn't even log it. I've never seen that before. It's impossible that I didn't see your message. Maybe it's in the actual... I'm curious, viciously curious. I need to know. I got to know right now if you love me forever and you feed me. No. D. Dev, bot, runtime, logs. I really have to know. Chat log. And testing. It's just not there. What does that even mean? That bothers me. Like, why did I not get your message? Did the bot disconnect for a second there? Is it on a breakpoint? No, it's running. That's the craziest thing. I'm all disturbed. Well, we'll figure that out. So maybe it's too long? Gosh, you know what? I'm just curious if I'm even receiving it. Could you one more, just give me a second. I'm going to put a breakpoint in Twitch. Bloop. I'm going to put a breakpoint in Twitch. Twitch API? No, Twitch IRC. IRC. Maybe my parser is, maybe I gift with my open IRC and on message, Twitch message. Let's double check who calls this. Find all references. This comes from on packet. So I am parsing your packet and processing the packet. So if you are ready with the same message ready to paste it again, I will breakpoint. Go if you want. Okay, I have a message of size 1. And, well, what is it? Message, data message. And it says, oh, ready. let's, and then what is this IRC message? S is view. There it is. Testing. The thing is baba dabba dabba. Okay. I got 2 messages. So there's the message, and we parse it. If the length is greater than 512, message too long. Huh. Why do I have a message length limit of 512 when clearly 512, what is the message length? Data size is 553, and this allows 512. That doesn't make any sense, does it? Is it counting all of that as part of the message? Is it counting that is 512? Let's double check. Maybe that's supposed to be the 512 and all of this noise in the front is, what is that? That's 185. Yeah, maybe I made a critical mistake in terms of my interpretation of max IRC message. Maybe the max IRC message is 512 characters of user content, and then, what did I just say that was? I just erased it. Redo. That was 185 characters. I'm going to say that it's not too long. Let's just put it down here. Set next statement. And run. Everything will have timed out. Nothing got processed. It's dead, Jim. Oh, there we go. In all the time that it took me to debug that, you went and found the docs. Aren't you the special kid? You're awesome, Pickle. You are correct. 500 for whispers, IRC standard. Standard says characters, IRC times is 512. Twitches is 500, excluding the new line. For ASCII, one line, 500. That's a 500, but As such, you can have a message that's 500 characters, but 2,000 bytes. Absolutely break. Also, Twitch is based on an older, although it doesn't make any difference, was closed. So, I guess I didn't go far enough. I didn't dig deep enough. Okay. Well, now we know. I had no idea. What if people were sending me long messages and I never knew? Oh, see? Yes, they're not getting past here, but I see you've pasted this in its entirety. So what I should do is if the max length minus 500, well, no, if the whole message is 2,000 bytes, no, I just have to limit by the message length. So if the message length is greater than 500, I don't really know how, because I haven't parsed the thing yet. So this is just me being, but this is about a bad handling of the message. I didn't even know. Gosh. Okay. We'll work on that. I'll leave a breakpoint, or I'll leave a bookmark. In the meantime, what I will do is I will go back to Roblox land. And what I wanted to do was what I was looking at, which was over here, Roblox elapsed timer. I'm just going to, it prints out a number. Hello world, comma, elapsed time. How come I can't phone it? Why is it underlined? Global is deprecated. Well, then why would you put it in your... Use OS clock instead. Okay. OS clock with capital letters. OS clock. Other far. Is that it? Stop. You've made script changes. Would you like to keep these changes? Yes. Where's my lava? Lava, lava, lava. What? I thought I said I wanted to keep my changes. Comma OS clock. Returns a high precision amount of CPU time used in lieu of intended use for benchmarking. That's just very strange. So these are Roblox global functions that don't work. Returns the total memory. Refers to the plugin. Returns the value required value modules run yet. Returns the global settings object when we use access settings. Configure the studio behavior. Returns the amount of time in seconds since the Unix epoch according to this device's time. Returns the amount of time in seconds have elapsed since the game instance started running. Can I call that? Kind of good to know what time you have. Comma time. Okay, that one's allowed. Type of variant returns the type of user settings version warning. We've got properties. Enums refers to the data model singleton, the root instance of a place's hierarchy. Okay. Plugin refers to plugin singleton when the code is run in the context of the plugin. Shared. Scared people away. The table shared between all code running at the same execution level. Okay. Script, reference to the source container. Script, local script, or module script that is executing this code. Workspace, reference to the workspace service which contains all of the physical components of a place. there it is, workspace. Now is case not important in this language? Or is it important? Because the documentation is in little case, that's in little case, that's in big case. That's the class that a workspace is. So a script is a Luo source container, which is of type script, local script, or module script. So this presumably is the local script. And then there's some libraries. And then there's just a lot. Okay, these are some of the bit 32. Let's see. The library is a backported feature from Lua that provides functions to do bitwise operations. Shift, band, not, or, test, XOR, consecutive zeros, extract a range of bits, replace bits, rotate, shift, rotate, shift. Okay, lovely. Beta only available in Studio. Buffer as an object will tend to be used as a low-level binary data storage structure, replacing the use of string pack and unpack. So I'm not allowed to use it? So the concept of this game from what I understand, this is designed by my kids, is that there is a plane, and there you are. And in this plane, floating in space, are bricks, parts. All the way off into space. And you run around, and some of them are apparently accessible. There's parts that are closer to the ground, and you can reach those. And there's ones that are higher up, and you collect those parts, and you have an inventory somewhere, and you have one free slot. You can carry one block. And then you can place that block into some kind, you can place it on the ground, and, sorry, my mouse drawing. Okay, you can place it on the ground, and you can collect another block and attach it to there, so that you have two blocks. And then there's special blocks like wheels, and you can attach the wheels to the blocks somehow, and they will look like something. And you build a car. So I don't know how this wheel, or maybe wheels are special axis parts, so that kind of goes out and then down, so the wheel is off the ground. And if it is off the ground, how do these blocks float? Is the building grid off the ground already, so that wheels are already floating down? I don't know. I have to get that detail. So part of this is also a teach the kids how to make design decisions and stuff. Because, you know, I would start making executive decisions about how I think it should work, but it's theirs, right? So in theory, you eventually make your car out of blocks and maybe more blocks. So it's a block building game, right? And now you have your car, and it has another wheel on the other side. And now you can zoom around, and then there's special power blocks. Okay, so there will be blocks that have power, and you have to attach power blocks or wires. I don't quite understand that logic of that design, but you have to attach your power blocks, and now the wheels are powered, and you can drive your car around. There are apparently guards with guns that are guarding things. And if you somehow defeat them in a mechanism that I don't know, you can collect their gun as a part, and you can mount that gun on your car. And then you can find more of these little dudes, and you can shoot them, pew pew, and you can collect more parts, and they are possibly guarding a thing that has these special power blocks or wheel blocks or other miscellaneous blocks that your vehicle would need. And then as you build your car, you build like a tower of parts so that you can climb up on your vehicle to collect ever parts that are more rare and higher up. And then the game has bosses. There's 3 bosses that you have to defeat with your car. There's a snake. There's a glowing eyeball with wings, a big angel kind of thing, and something else, some other boss. I'll just call him B. I forget what it is. And you drive around, you collect your parts, you defeat the bosses, and then there's some uber boss somewhere off in the distance. And I interpret all this as wonderful. So there's these bosses, and there's little encampments all over this map, perhaps, and maybe the map is infinite, and maybe it's flat, or maybe it has to have terrain. I don't know. I don't know what kind of physics we need to incorporate into this little vehicle and how it glues together, what the parts look like, whether there's angle parts to make slopes on the vehicle, wedges. Is there fall damage? I don't know. This is an infinite terrain, so do I need to chunkify it and, turn this into one chunk, and then we have another chunk afterwards, and another chunk, and so forth? I don't know. I like not knowing, actually, to be honest. But I like the idea of it being an infinite world, so I can work on tiling the world and tuk 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 tuk. I don't think the ground is not destructible or anything silly like that. I don't know if there's a progression. Maybe it can be multiplayer. If it was multiplayer and you have your cars and they have guns on them, then I perceive a kind of a Car Wars kind of game where you build your car and you shoot at each other and the car parts fly off each of it and you ram into each other and you basically do this, and then and maybe the guns break and you can't fix them. You have to go get another century and kill them and take their guns, and that's the only way. Like, there's no factory building or anything stupid like that. And that's what I know to this point. So, and then there's trunks. So you build a trunk, and the trunk can hold a grid of 9 cubes. So you can pick up a trunk. You can store a trunk on your car. Ba-doop, ba-doop, ba-doop. Right? Well, maybe a trunk should be green. Right? And you can put that in your inventory, and now you have 9 cells to build your car with until you use it up. I don't know how efficient that is. It doesn't seem very user-friendly, but meh. What am I going to do? What's going on, VexTube? Just talking about the design, if you want to call it that. At this point, it seems very esoteric and ethereal, if you're even still here. Apparently, these things drop, the boss monsters drop better cubes or pieces, better parts. Maybe shield ones or turbo boost ones, or I don't know. Maybe RAM bits, a sail. I have no idea. I think this is the joy of this. They don't really have a clue about how fixed a design needs to be. So this day one exercise is really for me to commit to making something for them, and to commit to having read the documentation about what the language is, because I've never written Lua before. So like, I've done that. What did that? Do I have to save, or does it automatically save? and every script is unique. Well, I don't know which one's which. You can't have like I'll just paste it onto all of them. Seems stupid. So oh, there it is, OS clock. Okay. So do I have to save? No. Do I have to save anything? File. Save as, save. Nope, it just saves it. So what we're looking at here is a tutorial that I did where you jump on little platforms. So you can and then I've attached the script to the lava, to the lava objects. So in theory, when I hit the lava, is there a console? View? Output. Hello world, timer. Are they just outputting the data? Or maybe they put that on. Yeah, and you get a lot of the engine is done for you. Like things just kind of are there. But now in theory, if I hit, oh, wait a minute. If I look at that script, workspace, lava script. Okay, that just happens once. So I got an OS clock of some number and a time of 0 because they were all just created. Okay, let's hit stop. And then I'm going to change my dumb lava script. I obviously don't like, so this is that component model mentality. I don't know if I can create a prototypical lava and spawn them in myself. Actually, I assume I can, right? There's obviously logic going on here. So I've gone through all of the built-in data types and read the globals, which and then there's these libraries. Buffer doesn't do anything. Coroutines used to perform multiple tasks at the same time within the same script. Such might include using coroutines. I know how those work. Provides a few basic debugging. Trace, info, traverses entire stack, return string. Profiling. Memory category. Assign a custom tag to current thread memory category. Oh, that's nice. Math. Lots of math functions here. We got abs, cost, sine, cost, CL through D floor, log, min, max, noise, pow, rad, random, seed, round, sine, hyperbolic, square root, tan, hyperbolic, huge property. I love huge properties. A value larger than or equal to any other numerical value. Pi. I love pi. OS gives us time, diff time. Oh, what is that? Returns the number of seconds from T1 to T2. Oh, that's lovely. Formats the string. Returns a high precision CPU. Returns how many seconds have passed since the Unix. Okay, that's epoch time and since start. Cool. String lib. We got returns internal numerical code for the characters. That's lovely. Byte char, find, format, match, substring, length, lower, match, pack size. What does rep stand for? Returns a string that is the concatenation of n copies of string s. Oh, repeat. Reverse, split. Substring, unpack from binary, uppercase. Great. Tables, generic functions of map. They're basically maps, key value pair map things. Tasks allow functions and threads to be scheduled with the task scheduler. The functions available in this library generally support functions and threads. In most cases, using a function is sufficient, but for more advanced cases, recommending familiar with the coroutine lib. Okay, I will do that. So what I'm going to do I'm putting in this initial time, and this is what, an hour and 20. So I've only been doing this for an hour and 20 minutes. I'm going to do it for another, play around with this for another 40 minutes, which peaks out at 2 hours. And then I'm going to shut this stream down, and then I'm going to probably start a different one, and not on YouTube, that just on Twitch, and I will play GTA. And I already saw the trailer, and it's amazing. But I won't see a PC version of that for till 26, 27 probably. This library provides UTF-8 support. The library does not provide any support for Unicode other than handling the encoding. Any operation needs the meaning of a character, such character classification outside the scope. Unless auto-stated, all functions expect byte as a parameter. Assume that the first given is either a start of byte sequences, 1 plus the length of the subject string, as in the starting library. Negative indices count from the end of the string. Oh, really? Negative indices are allowed? The world has gone to pot. Char codes, code point, length, offset, graph themes, normalize, car pattern. Cool. Okay, so we've now read 3 of these categories, and it seems like most of it is the life of the party. Is there's a lot of enums which we don't care about. They are classes. Actor is a container for code that can be safely split into its own thread. Draggers, controllers. Torque. Okay, so there's a lot of physics-related functionality. Align, analytics, velocity, animations. Object references an animation asset which can be loaded by a humanoid or animation controller. Cool. Clips, controllers, rigs, tracks, physics, asset delivery, asset services. What's that? Not creatable. There's a non-replicated service that handles asset-related queries to the web API. Eventually, this will house all asset-related queries. So what do we do with this? We create images, create matches. Ooh, this is interesting, actually. Create places, create place in player inventory. What is that? This function has been removed. Clones a place which has a place ID equivalent to the template, placing it in the inventory of the given player with it. So players have an inventory. Atmosphere attachment defines a point in orientation to the parent part, bone, or attachment. Offset is stored in the frame and can be set. Can also be set through other properties such as world frame. Okay. Audio. Avatar creation service. Prompt create avatar async. So we're not at instance yet. And yeah, what I was going to do, I was going to just do the dumb test with my lava here. Copy. So if we touch it, we can, and it was a human, then we will go, ouch. And then I'll just select all that, copy that, and I'll redo all these stupid dumb things. So they all have the same dumb thing. And then we'll play again. And oh, that was my safety bubble. Okay. And then here we are, a server script, and then we run into these things and we go, ugh! And we got 18 seconds to death. That seems like a fun game mechanic. Stop. Okay. Can I just call create avatar? What would happen? What does that do? Humanoid. Methods inheritment. Okay, I don't know. There's going to be. I'm going to have to do some more research. So maybe what I do, I don't know what the. There's going to actually be a burst of these at some point once I get past my initial learning curve, and I get more of the design document details. Then it'll be good. Right now it's dull. D-U-L-L. Dull. I don't expect much engagement from this. Avatar Editor. Support developer avatar editors. It provides methods to modify the player's avatar. Oh, okay. Request information about the user inventory and yada yada. Okay. Contains an object that holds the player's inventory. Any tool in a backpack will be displayed in the inventory. Selecting a tool from the inventory will equip the tool, moving it from the backpack to the player character. Backpack can store scripts and local scripts when placed in the player's backpack. When player spawns, the contents of the starter pack and their starter gear are copied into their backpack. One moment, please. Starter pack. So the contents of the pack go into the player. It has the starter. I understand. The backpack can also store scripts and local scripts which run when placed in the player's backpack. When the player's character spawns, the starter pack and their starter gear are copied into their backpack. Once a character dies, the backpack is removed and a new one will be created, populated with the contents. Roblox provides an interface for a player to access their backpack and inventory by default at the bottom of the screen. Accessing backpack from a server script. Accessing from the local script. Code samples. In this sample, demonstrating how a tool can be given to a player parenting to the backpack. Player, get there, players, give tool, backpack, find first children, backpack. If backpack, then tool, parent, backpack. On player added, instance tool, give tool, connect on player added, which gives them a tool. Okay. That's pretty neat. Backpack is an abstract item for backpack items such as hopper bins and tools. Seems very, yep, okay, a lot of inherited things. Badges, ball socket constraint. Allows attachment to freely rotate about all of their access, but if limit is enabled, the attachments only rotate in a limited cone. If this constraint attaches one part to another as anchored or connected, the anchor part will not be locally simulated when interacting with the player. So am I supposed to simulate the wheels turning and allow the physics model to literally use friction to govern the movement of the object across the ground? If that's the case, then surface modifiers like mud, trees, water, ice become a valid design property particularly to a car game. Like, what if you could spray ice out into the road and something that's chasing you is all now slippery, or oil, or tacks, or I don't know, tar, so you all of a sudden you're slowed down. That would be cool. But that would imply that you are literally doing a physics simulation of the movement of an object across the terrain, which I think would be more fun. In the elasticity, I think there'd be some fun. Base parts. It's an abstract base class for in-world objects to render and physically simulated while in the workspace. Okay. Several implementations of parts, the most common being part and mesh part. Wedges, wedge part, spawn locations, and terrain object. Singleton terrain. Generally, when documenting revisions of base part, inputs work and not just part. There are many different objects that interact with base parts, including base parts may be grouped within a model, moved at the same time using pivot to. Decal applies a stretched image to the faces of a base part, while a texture applied to a tiled image surface to the faces. Applies a tiled image to the faces. stretched image to the faces. Make grouped. So you can have a grouped base part and you'll end up with a stretched decal. Gotcha. Surface GUI renders GUI objects on the face of a part. Oh, that sounds fun. So we could make the UI on objects in the world instead of a floating one, if we want. Attachments can be added to the base part to specify frames relative to the part. These are often used by physical constraint objects outlined in the mechanical constraints and mover constraints. Okay. Particle emitters emit particles uniformly in the volume of the part to which they are parented. Oh, I totally want to see what that looks like. What if does the lava actually have, the lava parts, they're already kind of glowing. So the base part of lava, the lava part is red color. It's a neon material. It has a position. The C-frame data, yeah, has an origin, pivot. It can be collided. And so it's on collide that we're getting the interaction. It's anchored and a bunch of nonsense. Okay. I understand. There's the grid. Okay. And obviously you don't even have to pay attention to the grid. Okay. Grid material. Oh, okay. Wireframe. Familiarity. Switch windows. Selection style. Outlines, bounding boxes, both. Stats, network, summary, render, physics. Clear everything. Watch breakpoints, tag editor, call stack, script recovery, team create, find and replace all, performance, task scheduler, script performance, script analysis, asset manager. What's the asset manager? Okay. Properties window. Right down there. Explore over there. Home. Some modeling things. Not my thing. Avatar filtering, fitting, testing. What is device? Oh, view. We were looking at that already. Plugins. Manage plugins. What kind of plugins do we have? You haven't installed any plugins. What kind of plugins are we going to install? Oh, we can add Moon, interface tools, tool grip editors. Oh, we have to pay. We have to buy them with bits or with Roblox bucks. Free. Parts to terrain auto script maker. Animation spoofer. So there's models. Vehicles. Essential. Gotta have a car. 5,000 people have put that car in their game. McDonald's restaurant. Okay, we don't care about that. Fonts, meshes. A bunch of random plushies and Among Us's and lollipops. Pistols and pineapples. Cool. Audio. A variety of pages of sound effects. A bunch of images. Always challenging. And scripts isn't the thing. Then there's just plugins. Okay. And then we've got possibly lots of them. Archimedes. What is that? Plugin allows you to make smooth arcs and circles. Simply activate the plugin, select a part, select the axis you want on the UI, modify your angle, and hit render if you need help. Yeah, okay, I don't care. I don't know what that is. So, lots to explore, like crazy amount of stuff to explore. Mr. Love Pickle has left. He was here, but he's not here anymore. He went to sleep. It was a long, arduous day. Buffeted. Yes, and there's a lot of names. People are reacting to say that my name is a name that they haven't seen a lot of. Good to see you. Good to see you. Like that. But I'll just call you Adam from now on, if that's what you would rather. And you've explained as much, so I'm good with that. I support you 110%. Way prefer it. Okay, perfect. We have our funny preferences, and they are legitimate. Models, recent, light bulbs. Okay. I have approximately 20 more minutes that I intend to give to this initial educational effort of familiarizing myself with this environment and how to build things. What I would really love to do is I would like to hit start, and I want to have the world spawn something, just have it be up there in space. Yes, they are very much Roblox players and have been since they were 13. Because I'm surprisingly, I'm amazed that I did it, but I was a very strict parent with respect to internet computer access. They didn't get to go online until they were 13, and they didn't get to they got to play a little bit of computer stuff when they were about 11. And my youngest, he got the rules were a little bit bent on him. But yeah, we didn't want them to be idiots. Now that's all they want to do. That's all they do. And so much for that. But at the very least, they were kids. I gave them a childhood. That's all I can hope to say that I have accomplished. What they do with the rest of their life, that is sadly, that is gloriously up to them. What I'm curious about, although I don't have enough knowledge, now I have enough to be dangerous. Base parts. There's many different objects that interact with base, including bases can be grouped, decals can be applied, surfaces can be applied, attachments can be added. These are often used by constraint objects for mechanical constraints. Emitters can emit. Lights can be emitting. If a base part is parented to a tool and given the name handle, a base part can be held by characters. Oh, fun! I will. As girly as I might be, I will always be their dad. It's funny, in some of the message boards relating to the topic, individuals will come like, I was there and now I am there, or am I? Because they already have a there, blah blah, and I'm starting to not look like I was, and lolly la, and so what should I call myself, and blah blah, and I'm like, come on, you fucking people, just admit that like accept the responsibility of the job, of the role, of the title that you earned through the spawnlingness of the whole thing. People are so silly and petty about dumbest of things, and I'm being silly and petty about this thing, that it's essentially you are what you are job wise, like you're an atom and you're labeled an atom. If you aren't, then you change it and then you are something else. I don't know. I just contradicted myself. I think you know what I mean. The role that was performed that cannot be unperformed has a title, and that's the title. That's it. But when what does it mean to be triggered is really kind of the larger question. I am so triggered by something. I don't want to get into this either. Properties, base types, so base parts. We got a whole lot of properties. Assembly, mass, root, surface, brick color, frame, can touch, all these are these crazy properties. So you can customize, and I essentially imagine instantiate a base part and give it all the properties you want, and you don't have to actually use the editor to place them. You can just spawn them. So I need a part spawner. That's going to be a definite task. And okay, so you don't know the design. So there's a design. Here's the design. And if you can erase everything and just start with the horizon line, there's the player, and they run around the world initially, and there's floating parts in space, and they can collect the parts, and then they can eventually, through some mechanism that is not yet determined, different parts, they build a car. And then there are sentries located around the map, possibly guarding things, and what those things are, we don't know. And the map is possibly infinite. The terrain of the map is possibly varied, or it's possibly flat, or maybe there's obstacles. All of this is unknown. It doesn't actually have to be like GTA 6 or anything. It can just be a freaking Roblox nonsense game. That's allowed too. But the player collects the floating blocks up in the sky, and they build a car so that they can reach the higher blocks. So there's some kind of laddering system that's required. And the player sits on their car and drives around, and they encounter these guardians. They can use their hands. There's tools. Maybe they're laying around. They can find a hammer, and they can club the guards that are shooting them, and then they can take the guns and they can mount the guns on the car and then shoot the things, and they collect those parts. And then there's bosses. So there is the snake boss, the angel boss, and I forget what it's called, boss, and then there's a mystery boss. So it's kind of a bullet hell dodge and shoot mechanic thing. I don't know if you go into an arena and you face the boss and how that's supposed to fly. I don't know. They, upon defeat, drop special blocks. The car has structural blocks and powerable blocks, and then perhaps wheels blocks, and how they attach, how you build, all of that's unknown to me. It might be clear to my kids who are the designers. And so the exercise for them is to learn how to gather up all of their design ideas and turn them into something that is definable, describable, communicable. And then my job as the old parent is to implement it somehow. Be the engineer and not say no. Just go, yeah, we could do that. we can put that together. Sure, whatever. So now what I do definitely see is necessary is I need a part spawner. And the part spawner is going to have some templated base types. And the first one will be cube, and maybe sphere, and then spheres attached to cubes, and then they have a rotatable. Maybe spheres are bigger than cubes. I don't know if they all have to be the same size. There is some kind of an inventory mechanic where you have blocks, and you build them somehow. Mr. Love Pickle. Will not get old. Will never get old. Will not get old. Okay, so we got a whole bunch of business with base parts. And they've got properties galore. Base part GUI is an abstract class that all GUI drawing storage classes inherit from. Remote events, nothing about it. Script objects which run automatically. Warp targets, warp layers, a wrap, or base wrap. A mesh part is the only valid parent for a wrap, and it behaves more like a component of a mesh part than an independent object. So what does that do? An ID for a cage, a cage, a cage, a global 0 for a cage mesh. I don't know what this is. Okay, we'll learn. Can't even lurk. No. Well, you can lurk. You just can't leave and come back and think you're going to sneak in. You know what I could do? I don't know if I could do this. Gosh, you know what? I'm going to distract myself. I'm going to distract myself, so I won't. Beam curvature. What is this? A beam object connects attachments by drawing a texture between them. To display, a beam must be descended from the workspace with attachments and attachments and attachments in the workspace. The beam's appearance can be customized under a range of properties. Beams are configured to use a Bezier formed for control points. Yep. Gubba gubba. Code sample. Instance attachment. Instance attachment. Parent to the terrain. 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 Vector. Vector. Instance of beam. Creating a beam from scratch. Wow, that's a lot of code to make a beam. 46 lines to make a beam. Let's do it. Let's just copy their example. I think that goes in the script. Boom. And then we'll run. Is that it? Is that the beam? Because that wasn't there before. Or is that what is that? Yeah, I don't think that was there before. It's kind of weird looking. World script. Terrain editor. Let's get rid of it. So what did this whole thing do? It said make an attachment, make a vector from 10 x, y, z. X, y, let's make it bigger. How about that? 100. Stop. Yes. Run. Oh, oops. I died. Okay. I made a beam. Not impressed with it, but it's some kind of connecty thing. So maybe that is a way to represent items that aren't exactly touching each other but are connected so that you make a beam between them so they can be offset in funny offsets. Maybe that's an idea, possibly. But cool is that this workspace script is main for all intents and purposes, or could be implemented as a main. So what I probably imagine is this would instantiate a bunch of other scripts that like create the part maker, the terrain tiler, terrain blocks, and or chunks. Yeah, the world chunks and some kind of connection of that. I don't know. Make a beam between the things. Appearance properties. Make a color sequence that shifts the colors. Add blending. It's not affected by light. It's sparkly. Wrap so the length can be set. Repeating the texture so it's one stud long. Make the transparencies. Fades out at the ends. Create a curved beam. Okay. And then it's enabled and it's parented to @0. Really? Attachment 0, attachment 1, and then it's parented to 0? That doesn't make any sense. Shouldn't it be parented to the terrain? Isn't it parented to the terrain? Oh, no, it isn't. The attachments are parented to the terrain, and the beam is parented to the attachment, and then the beam is comprised of the two attachments. Fancy. Deprecated billboards are a container for GUI objects that always face the camera. Yep. Okay, got it. String values, bindable events. So we have asynchronous one-way event from the client-server boundary. When you fire a bindable event through the bindable event fire method, the firing script does not yield, and the target function receives the passed arguments with certain limitations. Create threads of each connected function, so even if one firing errors, the others continue. Bindable functions. As stated, events do not allow for comms between the two. If you're looking for that functionality, use remote event. Okay. Bindable functions, block meshes applies a brick mesh to the base part. It's parented to, it behaves identically to a special mesh with mesh. What does a block mesh do? Gives the base part it was applied to a brick shaped mesh. It's identical in appearance to the standard Roblox part. Dimensions of the mesh will scale linearly in all directions. This means a part containing a block mesh can be resized the same way as any other part. Block mesh brings additional functionality, its ability to set the data model mesh scale and offset. These allow position and dimension of the mesh that is displayed to be changed without changing the position, size, or mesh it's parented to. So you can make wiggly blocks, make a part, place it somewhere, and then anchor it. Make a mesh, place the mesh, anchor the mesh to the part. Create a selection box adorned on the part, and then the part's parent is the workspace. I don't know. So what does it do? What does that do? This is now where we're actually getting into the beans of interesting. Boink. Run. Look at that. There's a part. I'm mystified, a little bit mystified. Why is there this part? Oh, there's a part and then there's a base part or mesh part we attached it to. Go back to workspace. Go back to script. We made a part there with a size of XYZ and we anchored it. And then we made a block mesh and we made it scaled half size. Why is one? Oh, because this size is funky. It's 5 by 2 by 5, so it's only two units tall. Whereas this one is offset up by 2 and it's just half by half by half, and it's parented. Okay. And then its adornment is a selection box. I don't know what that means. Does it mean you can jump on it? Maybe? Okay, well that's already that's promising. That's cool. So we can dynamically create our funny little parts. I guess yep, okay. Cool, cool, cool. Getting excited that I'm starting to see the pieces of this. Bloom effect. Blur, Gaussian blur to the entire rendered game world? Really? Okay. Angular velocity, colors, forces, gyros, movers, part descriptions, positions, thrusts, velocities, bones, non-rendered animation system, bool values, box handle adornment. For handles to be interactive, they must be parented to a player's player GUI or the core handles. The box element is a rectangular prism that can be adorned to a part. The adornment can listen to input events and commonly used to make dragger tools. Okay. Ooh, dragger tools. That means maybe you could make a trailer for your little car, and you carry your parts around in a trailer. That would be weird and a little fun. Brick color value, store color, browser service, bubble, chat configuration, bubble chat, buoyancy, cameras, canvas groups, canvas renders descendants as a group with color and transparency applied to the render result. Descendants of canvas group will be rendered as a flattened texture only when the ancestor layer collector. Okay, so this is a way of decaling things and making fancy new textures. We recommend using canvas group with static sizes, otherwise a new texture would need to be created to accommodate new sizes. Okay. Capturing catalogs C-frame values, container object for a single C-frame value. Make a snapshot, get the current camera, capture the value. Later we can load the C-frame back into the camera. So this is for remembering position and orientation of things. That's cool. Change history, character appearance, character mesh, chat related things. It's deprecated, don't use it. Chat, sound effects, click detector, allows scripts to receive pointer clicks. Maybe they shoot an arrow with a tethered arrow with rope, and then they reel in the floating parts in the sky instead of building a ladder. So maybe they make a harpoon gun. Maybe it's the first thing you build on your car is a part harpoon. Coming up with my own ideas because I know the kids are not going to be able to come up with all the ideas that will actually create a functioning anything. But that would be kind of fun. And then you upgrade your harpoon to get higher parts, higher tier parts, maybe. So yeah, maybe that's a good idea. Client replicator climb controller. Amount of time to climb velocity. I don't know. Clouds. Renders realistic clouds. Both cloud cover and density can be adjusted. Fun. Internal service meant to cache cluster packets. The service only be present if a network server. Color values, command service, nothing. Compressor sounds, cone handles, configuration. Container that's designed to hold values to make values using tools or any model using scripts more accessible. It's a container. It doesn't offer any additional functionality to a folder. They should hold value objects, bricks, numbers, ints, objects, etc. These value objects should be read by the script to determine constants such as daemon. Okay, sure. Okay. Configure server service, constraint, brick color, enable. Okay. Controller objects is the human aid controller base. Okay, so you've got a pawn, same model as Unreal and Unity and everything. You have an actor and you have a controller manager. Instances simulated motion for its assigned root part. It can be used to build a physics-based character controller. Okay. Controller part sensor. A sensor base that outputs data about another base part based on humanoid floor and ladder detection logic, primarily used for sending data to a character controller. Using a controller part sensor allows you to detect base parts in the same manner as the humanoid uses for detecting floors and ladders. Okay. So wheels in a car would have a controller part sensor that lets them know that they're on the terrain, which would be kind of interesting. Hello, Mr. Pham. I don't know if you heard me. I think it's working. I'm talking to my YouTube stream. Core GUI, controller sensor controller service cookies. Used by Roblox to control cookies. Can only be used by backends not available, so why mention it? Here's documentation for something that you can't use. Thank you. Thank you for that knowledge. Core GUI is a service used to store GUIs created by in-game for the core user, found on every game. Menus, backpack can be used by plugins. Okay. Core, curve, custom events. Read all about that. Cylinder handles, cylinder mesh, data models. Is the root of all evil. Its direct children are services, such as workspace and lightings, act as a fundamental components of a Roblox game. Well, they have a lot of properties. Look at the properties on a data model. A creator, a game, a genre, a job, a place, private, workspace. Bind, get is okay. Don't quite see the purpose yet. That's okay. We will forgive it. Data models, data stores. Doesn't matter. Gee, there is a lot of classes. Object describing data store info, such as creation time. A lot of data stores. Debris service allows the developer to schedule the removal of object without yielding any code. Lifetime argument is elapsed. The object is removed in the same manner as a destroy. It's a service. It must be created. Why use debris? Beyond creating a bit of a mess, objects that are no longer required can use up system memory and cause the game to run slower. For this reason, it's always advised to run the instance destroy function on objects you no longer need. However, in many cases, an object may have a specific period of utility after which it needs to be destroyed. Take, for the example, a projectile that has just been thrown. It could be cleaned up using wait 3 projectile destroy. However, there are a number of issues with this approach. Firstly, it requires yielding the code with a wait, which is not desirable. Secondly, before 3 seconds have elapsed, the object may have already been destroyed. It reached fallen parts destroy height. Delay 3 function if projectile and projectile parent then destroy. This solves the above issues as it spawns a new thread to prevent the current one from yielding and checks to see if it can be destroyed. However, at this point, a simple command that has already become quite complicated and unnecessary thread is being created. This is where debris comes in, and the following code addresses all of the issues. Debris add projectile 3. Debris does not yield the current thread, does not require a new thread, and will not error if the object is already destroyed. For this reason, is recommended for cleaning up objects with a fixed lifetime. Beautiful. Get the debris field, make a ball part, or make a part. It's anchored, it's a ball, it's smooth, it's one, random, while true, clone the ball, random color, random position, random direction, parent it to the workspace, add it as for 2 seconds, and then wait while forever. Okay, let's do it. Let's see what that does. Copy the script. Put this at the bottom of all of our weird little tests. Paste. Run. What we should see are balls. Very satisfying. Why is the camera zooming? Maybe my mouse was acting up? Well, I'm very pleased. Very pleased. Stop. This was a good thing to learn. View diagnostics about its label diagnostics. Decal will apply an image to a part. Alternatives to decals. Though decals have a wide variety, in some cases may wish to pick one of the following. For repeated tiled textures, the texture should be used. To apply GUI, surface GUI. If the effect of lighting on the image needs to be altered, surface GUI should also be used. Code sample. Make a part, give it a size, give it a position, anchor it, make it smooth, color it toothpaste, create a decal, put the normal on the decal is on top, parent to the part, create a sound, pick with heart, define a happy face, define a sad face, and touched event. If the part is touched, connect, and play the sound. Oh, well, let's grab that kooky code. Copy. It's kind of fun. Not gonna lie, this is fun. That's my comment. Balls. And this one is whatever. Decals. Run. I don't know where they appear. Oh, if I hit it, it changes to an ow face. Oh, I love it. That makes me happy. Oh, that's so fun. I know where maybe the camera is picking up a ball that's blocking the line of sight and it causes the camera to reset. Yeah, something weird like that. Cool. It's getting more fun. Oops, what did I just do? This. Depth of field, Dialogue allows our users to create NPCs that players can talk to using a list of choices. The dialogue option may ensure a part as a head. The player will see speech bubble above the part they can click on to start a conversation. The creator of a place can choose which choices the player can say by inserting choices. Choices, distortion, dock widget is a plugin GUI that displays the contents in a dockable window used to create widgets similar to the built-in animation. Train tools can be created. Okay. Double constrained value, draft service, doesn't say. Drag detector. Encourage physical interaction with objects in experience, such as opening doors and drawers, sliding a part around. Key features, under any part or model to make it draggable via all inputs, mouse, touch, VR, all without a single line of code. Choose from many drag styles that allow you to motion apply access. Look at this number of trackball, roll factor, min drag, torque, drag style. What kind of drag styles can we have? Line, plane, 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 rotate, trackball, scriptable, best for device. Cool. And a dragger is a helper object used to create tools that can drag parts. It is expected but not required to be used with mouse events. Echo sound effect, editable image. Allows for runtime creation of images. It can be created from an existing. Can be created with instance, overrides the image depiction when parented to certain objects. The editable coordinate system, top left, bottom right. When publishing an object by a prompt create asset, it has a property written. The editable image will be published as an image and the overridden property will be set to the new asset ID. Editable mesh changes the applied mesh when applying the mesh part. So I'm going to look at this for a second. If I go to modeling, we can make parts. A block, a sphere, a wedge, a corner wedge, or a cylinder. So if I made a wedge, I'm going to rename it my wedge. I can make it bigger. I can make it 5 by 10. Oh no. Where'd it go? What did I do? Five by 10 by 10. Okay, now we have a big wedge. And can I move it just by dragging it? Oh, I can. Perfect. And then what can I do with it? Can I transform it? What does this allow me to do? I can rotate it. Can I edit the pivot? I can move it, rotate it. I can union it. I can show welds. I can add effects. I can spawn. Oh no, I don't want to do that. Undo. Model. All Roblox model files, Roblox model. Run script, script, local script. Insert a script. Insert a local script. Insert a module script. Not sure the difference of the type of scripts, but that's wonderful. I'm excited about that. Okay. So we have fixed parts. Well, how do you get all of the weird parts? Are they just like cleverly welded together and unioned and intersected to make all of the make an inventory of weird parts that you can glue together? What do you think? 9:53. I think I have learned a ton. I've got to the letter emote pages, equalizer, Euler rotation curves, experience invite options used to customize a player invite prompt, such as customize the prompt message, target a specific friend, or include launch date in the invite. That would be interesting. Okay, so that's engagement design features. Experience notification, don't know. Explosions. Explosion applies a force to parts within explosion base lashes. Force explosion effects. Humanoids are killed as they break the character model's neck joints. Parenting a force field to a model will protect all of its children from explosions. That means their joints will not be broken and the humanoid will not be killed. So that's just a thing. If a developer doesn't want joints between base parts to be broken, wants to implement their own formula for damaging humanoids, it's recommended they set explosion destroy joint radius % to 0 and use the explosion hit event to handle the result of the explosion. Explosions could be configured to damage terrain, create craters. This behavior is controlled by the explosion type property. Oh, I want to see an explosion. Of course. Who wouldn't? So this was Decals, and let's put it second to last. Boom! So where am I going to put it? I'm going to put it at, I'll put it 20 forward and 100 up. So that's not near us. 60 black radius, yes, okay. Oh, okay, a little bit too far, too high. Stop. We'll put it 200 ahead of us and only 30 units above us. Oh, is that behind us? Shoot. Maybe I can just have it keep making explosions and then I would be able to see them. Script. Make lots of explosions. X. Clone balls and do this. What if I just keep making explosions? Instance of explosion. Do I have to debris the explosions? Or do they late riveting point? Do I have to debris the explosion? Let's do it. After 5 seconds. There we go. That's fun. I could be dropping explosions on myself, killing myself constantly. These are all very interesting parts to the puzzle. I am going to call that an exhausting level. I've gotten to letter E and have done some experiments, and I'm excited. And I will make it further offline, and hopefully day 2 will be an adventure where we actually start to build the pieces of this puzzle. That will be a game. But in the meantime, thanks for watching.